So growing up, I say Vienna, Austria. Is that correct? In terms of what was there a specific suburb in Vienna where you were, like your town? What is your town, or is it Vienna?
In Vienna, they number the districts. The city has 23 districts.
Yeah.
They have a name, but usually when you talk about it, it's all numbers. And I lived in the 11th district.
Okay.
They call it Simmering. It's a blue collar part of town.
Okay. I worry that they're numbering the districts. It's very Hunger Games. The districts are numbered. Okay, so you were in 11.
Yes.
You were in 11. What was WWE's presence like in Vienna as a kid in district number 11? Was it there at all?
Yeah, on VHS. That's where it existed, basically. When I grew up, like the tournaments were still a thing, like Otto Wanz, the tournaments.
Oh
he
my
ran.
gosh, yeah.
I think they ran till like 97 or 98 in Vienna. And that was my first contact with it all. Because Otto Wanz is like in Austria, it's crazy. I mean, we're a small country.
Yeah.
But when and I don't know how it's now, because time moves on. But I remember that Hulk Hogan, Undertaker, Otto Wanz, that's like what people know about wrestling.
Yeah.
He was such a big figure. And he was really good at promoting himself and promoting the sport and stuff. So that was my first contact, and that was, And since then, I guess that's where it's from. There was the whole ambiance with it was like an open air, it's like an ice skating spot.
Yeah.
So they ran the tournament in the summer, and it was all open air, just a little roof over the ring. And I still connected very, very specific atmosphere about it.
Yeah.
I loved it back then, but that was the first time I got in touch with it. And then later on, friends had like VHS about WWE back then, like mid-90s. But it was kind of hard to get your hands on it, more or less.
You're the first person who's come on the pod who's talked about Otto Wanz.
Yeah.
And I feel like I only know the myth, the lore. I've heard Fit talk about him. I've heard Mr. Regal talk about. That's a big chunk of, we don't get that in America. Not unlike, very different, but not unlike, I didn't know anything about Big Daddy.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, Regal's telling me all about Big Daddy, and I'm going down this rabbit hole. It was so different in terms of what you had. What age did you start training?
I've 2005, so I think it was 17.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you're 17 and you're looking at training to become a pro wrestler, did you have a goal? Did you have a thing you wanted to get to?
No. And that's like, I think something that a lot of the boys from over here don't understand is like, all of this, that's not a realistic option if you grow up as a young boy in Vienna.
Okay.
Because it's so far away.
Yeah.
And even if you think back, like WWE, like when did they really open up to the outside, like to the indies and stuff like that? So now I just wanted to do it and started training, and just stuck to it. I was like never, that's where I want to go. That's where I want to go. Over the years, my big goal became like, hey, I want to quit working a job and just do this as a profession. That was the big goal, and that was unachieved. Like all of the older boys, when I started, it were more or less leftovers from the Otto Wanz time.
Yeah.
They barely made it somehow. Like officially, they made a living of it, but what living? So, that was my big goal. I was like, hey, if I can turn this into a profession, then that would be a dream scenario. I never had that wide view on possibilities.
So that's crazy to me, and never having the wide view, but also having talked to you a bunch of different times. You're frustratingly, you say something like that. No, wasn't sure what it would be. You're frustratingly talented. I don't know. There are people who can just get up and do this, and then there's people who require all this prep and all this training and all these voices around them. Like myself, I need a Michael Hayes, I need a Paul Heyman, I need them all around me. What are we doing? And you just breeze right through. Can I ask you I don't think I've ever asked anyone this question on the podcast, but I'll just ask you, do you think you're the best wrestler in the world?
See, I don't think about that. I don't know.
No, but if you had to really look at it, if I'm just asking you, not even a contentious, competitive question, just if you think, looking at the entire, what you know of, that's out there, what's on the independent scene, what's elsewhere, and what's here, do you think you're the best wrestler in the world?
At least one of. It's hard to say.
At least one of us. I mean, being in the discussion for it, is I think it's terrifying in that sense, in terms of, I would tell you, you're definitely in the discussion.
Yeah.
And I think that's exactly why you were the man in the spot against John Cena, but just the idea that you're not really thinking of it for the you don't have the wide view. Do you think you have a wide view now? Do you now taking what you've done, world champion, intercontinental champion for an absurd amount of time, just are you going to take what you've done now? What's the plan? Do you have a goal? You mentioned you get bored real quick.
Yeah.
So not looking for a spoiler here or anything of that nature, but is there another goal, another mountain to climb? There has to be.
Yeah, but not in sense of like I never had like that list of that's what I want to achieve. I want to win this or whatever. It's more like I don't know. I always kind of like want to grow in the responsibility I can take on.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. And
yes.
I feel like that's what kind of like drives me. Where it's like, okay, I'm mastered like this very difficult situations. Okay, now I can master something even more difficult. I see it kind of like in that sense, and I guess in our world that combines, that automatically means like titles, big matches, and all of that. But yeah, I think I've literally done it all the year. I don't know. I've just enjoyed it. Like I always wanted to do it, and once I get out there, that's where I love it. It's like it is. I think I never had a match in my whole career where I went like I'm not. I felt like before like. I'm not feeling it today, but once I'm in the ring, it's like, we're good. Like I'm having fun.
Well, it's home.
Yeah.
John Cena, when he came on the podcast, referred to your respect for the ring and the sacred, the mat, and what it is, and the juxtaposition of styles. Here's a random, just something that has me thinking, because I know there's people in your life, but are you running a one-man show here? Just a one-man wrecking crew, or do you have a circle here at WWE, a crew that keeps you from getting too far here, keeps you level? Do you have that
in the company itself?
Yeah,
I think not really. No, I feel like if there's someone I talk to, sometimes it's Heyman. He's good for advice sometimes for certain situation, and not just like whatever. The daily work, like promos, whatever, but just like the overall,
the big picture
view, the big picture. No, otherwise, Marcel obviously, Kaiser, he's my best friend, so he's good at giving me perspective, and otherwise, no, not really.
I tons of respect for Marcel, and did you guys come over together?
No, he went earlier.
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing. We really just started getting going with WXW. It really picked up, and then he got offered a deal, and he was like, I gotta take it, and he wanted to take, which I understand, and I was always the guy who was like, no, I understand, stay. We go later. But I totally get his decision. Everything worked out for him. But he was maybe 3 years earlier than me. He came over. He moved to Orlando, started in the PC. So he had to kind of like, that was the thing for him, because he came in before, when you were already somebody on the indies, you could come into NXT and have a better position already.
Yeah.
And he came in shortly, basically before that. Like the indies haven't really taken that much off in Europe, and also the system was still a little bit different. So he had to start from zero in NXT and just do that whole thing. So like he really swallowed his pride on that, and I respect him for how he's done it, because he was already wrestling like, I don't know, 8 years when he signed. So and then start from zero, like learn how to roll and learn how to take a bump and stuff. Yeah.
Do you see big things for him?
For Marcel, 100%. I think he's underratedly charismatic.
Yeah.
And he's a really good talker. Like I always tell him, it's like, you need to go to Hollywood at some point, because he's very good. He's got something for the whole acting thing. Like I always tell him, like, I think he would have been an amazing like theater actor or something like that. Because he's very talented with languages too and stuff. So very, very, very talented person. When it comes to the wrestling side, of course, like he might be the only European second generation guy going right now. Is there another one? No, I don't think there's another like with a.
I love him.
The son, yeah.
I just enjoy watching too. There's certain people that you don't have necessarily a relationship with, or it's not an active dialogue, but you just kind of watch from afar. And he's one. I always look around, and this is a silly thing to ask myself, but I wonder, okay, if I was to run a company, if I ran a wrestling company, who would I want? Because it's actually less people than you think. You really, you don't need as many people as you think. You need really good ones. And he's just someone he's taking what he has currently, clearly running with it. But I wanted to hear your perspective on him, because I think there's big stuff for him.
Yeah, I think so too. And it's like, that's like the trickiest part sometimes, when you're like really good friends, but you're kind of like in different positions for a while.
Gosh.
Because out of my perspective, it's like super hard to be like, I'm the guy who skipped all of the system and who skipped all of that.
Yeah.
Waited out and it's going to come. So it's kind of like, who am I to tell him like, it's going to come, my friend, you know what I mean? It's like the difficult situation. But he's very good with me sometimes to keep me grounded.
Yeah, you need that.
Yeah.
That's why I was asking. I was like, there's got to be someone in his circle that keeps it. And it's not always keeping. Sometimes it's actually gassing you up.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need like I think lately I've liked a crew around me that's tell me something nice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm already beating myself half to death here. Tell me something good.